Welcome to Shattered Vows.
My name is Chelsea, I'm 21, and this is something I've never told anyone. I'm addicted, not to drugs, not to alcohol, but to something else, something I can't go a night without: my vibrator. Thank you, my wonderful subscribers, for sticking to Ella Infidelity stories. I appreciate you all. Now let's dive into the main story. It started when I was 18, curious, lonely, and quietly craving something I didn't even understand at the time. I bought my first toy online, a sleek little pink thing that fit in my palm and made me feel things I had never felt before. At first, I used it once a week, then it became every night. Now I need it before I sleep, like brushing my teeth, like drinking water. My body won't relax until I've had it, until I felt it. Sometimes I tell myself it's just routine, but deep down I know it's more. I built a secret world around it, a ritual: soft music, dim lights, no distractions, just me and that sweet hum between my thighs. I know exactly how to touch myself, where to press, how to arch my back and grind into my pillow. I whisper things no one will ever hear, and when it's over, I lie there in silence, satisfied, guilty, alone. I never told anyone. I couldn't. It was my secret. At least until he moved in. His name is Jake, my mother's new husband. She met him on a dating app, and within weeks he was in our house, sitting on our couch, drinking from our mugs like he belonged. At first, I hated the idea. I had no interest in welcoming some strange man into our lives, especially not into my space. But then I saw him. Jake wasn't what I expected. He was dangerous, not in the scary way. No, this was the kind of danger that made your thighs clench without warning. Tall, broad shoulders, deep voice, a jawline that looked like it could cut glass, salt and pepper hair that made him look like a hot actor from one of those forbidden romance movies. And then there were his arms, tattooed, strong, veins showing just enough to make my mind wander. I started to watch him from the hallway when he worked out in the garage, shirt off, sweat dripping, muscles flexing. I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I started thinking about him during my nightly routine, his arms pinning me down, his rough hands grabbing my waist, his voice whispering filthy things in my ear. My little pink vibrator started to feel like him, bigger, harder, more intense. And that night, the night everything changed, I was deep into it. My legs spread wide, the toy humming between my thighs, my eyes closed, my back arched. I whispered his name before I even realized I was doing it: Jake. And then I opened my eyes. He was there, standing in my doorway, watching. And the worst part? I didn't stop. The air in the room felt thick, charged with something I hadn't expected: desire. Jake stood there, his hand gripping the doorframe as if he was trying to hold himself back. His eyes never left me, not even for a second, and I didn't look away either. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have. I turned my back, acted like it was all a mistake, but I didn't. I couldn't. My body betrayed me as I kept moving the vibrator, the hum sending shockwaves through me. I could feel my pulse racing in my throat, my chest rising and falling. But it was his eyes, those deep gray eyes, that stole the breath from my lungs. They were hungry, not just curious, not just shocked. Hungry. I had expected to feel embarrassed, ashamed, but instead, I felt something else, something dangerous. My core tightened and I felt that familiar ache between my legs, stronger than ever. Jake stepped forward, his broad frame blocking the light from the hallway. He didn't say anything, but I could see his chest rising and falling just as fast as mine. He was fighting with himself, I could tell. My voice was shaky, but I didn't know what else to say. "You shouldn't be here." He didn't answer at first. Instead, he just watched me, his gaze lingering on the way my fingers moved. That was when I realized I hadn't stopped. I had kept going, kept pressing the toy deeper, letting it thrum against me like I was inviting him in. Suddenly, the weight of it all crashed down on me. What was I doing? This was my stepdad. This was wrong, wasn't it? But my body didn't care. It craved the tension, the forbidden thrill of having him so close, even if it was just with his eyes. I felt like a string pulled taut, ready to snap. I gasped, my movement slowing as I reached the edge. But then Jake spoke. "Tell me to leave, Chelsea," he said, his voice low. "Tell me to leave and I will." My breath hitched. I knew what he was asking. He was offering me a way out. He was giving me control, but somehow I didn't want to take it. I was breathing hard now, my fingers still tracing the toy along my skin, but my mind was no longer focused on the toy, it was on him, on Jake. I slowly lifted my head and met his eyes, and that's when I saw it, the want in them, the same hunger I felt inside me, the same dark, desperate need. "I don't want you to leave," I whispered, barely audible. His expression shifted, his lips parted as if he wanted to say something, but no words came. He just stepped forward, one slow, measured step after another, until he was standing next to my bed. His scent, musky, woodsy, and intoxicating, surrounded me, and for a moment, I thought he might touch me. I thought he might take me in his arms and finish what I had started. But instead, he stopped just inches away. We were close enough that I could feel his warmth, the heat radiating off him. I could feel the weight of his gaze on me, almost like a physical touch. I couldn't help but squirm, shifting my hips against the sheets, the ache deep inside me almost unbearable. "Chelsea," his voice was soft, barely above a whisper. "Are you sure you want this?" I didn't know if I was sure, but all I could think about was how badly I wanted to say yes. "Yes," I breathed, my hands still moving, my body begging for more. "I'm sure." And with that, he did the last thing I expected. He reached for the hem of his shirt. He slowly and deliberately pulled it over his head. His abs rippled with each movement, his muscles flexing as he tossed the shirt aside. My eyes followed the trail of ink on his skin, the tattoos that only made him look more dangerous, more irresistible. But it wasn't just the tattoos or the muscles, it was the power, the control in his movements, the way he commanded the space without even trying. I was helpless, completely mesmerized. I couldn't help but imagine what it would feel like to have him pressed against me, his body covering mine, taking me in ways I hadn't even dreamed of. And then he looked at me, his gray eyes dark with desire, and asked again, "Are you sure?" This time I didn't hesitate. "Yes, Jake, I'm sure." That was the moment everything shifted. I knew the line I was about to cross. I knew the consequences. But in that moment, with the heat between us unbearable, all I could think about was how much I wanted him, how badly I needed him. There are moments in life you can never undo, moments that change everything with just one touch. This was mine. Jake stood there shirtless, his chest rising and falling like he was fighting a war inside himself, but his eyes, those deep gray eyes, told me he'd already lost that battle, and so had I. He leaned forward and I held my breath. My heart pounded so hard I thought he could hear it. Then his hand moved slowly, hesitantly, and brushed a strand of hair from my cheek. His fingers lingered a moment too long, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. My skin craved more. I wanted him to take me, to claim me, but he was being slow, like he wanted me to feel every second of what was happening, like he wanted to tease me with what I'd been begging for in my mind for weeks. "Jake," I whispered, my voice barely audible, "touch me." He didn't answer with words. Instead, he sat on the edge of the bed, his eyes never leaving mine. His hand moved gently down my thigh, tracing my skin like he was learning every inch of me. I bit my lip, arching into his touch, desperate for more. When his fingers finally reached the waistband of my panties, he paused. "If you want me to stop, now's the time," he said. But stopping was the last thing I wanted. "Don't stop," I said. "Please." And just like that, he pulled the fabric down, his eyes fixed on my body. I felt naked under his gaze, not just physically but completely exposed, like he could see every thought, every need, every dark secret I'd kept buried. His fingers brushed over my sensitive skin and I gasped, my legs trembling beneath his touch. He leaned in, his lips brushing my ear. "You've been dreaming about this, haven't you?" he whispered. "Yes," I breathed every night. I could feel the heat between us growing, the tension unbearable. He took his time exploring me, like he wanted to memorize every reaction, every gasp, every moan, every shiver. And then I saw it. He stood up slowly, undoing his belt. His pants dropped, and my eyes widened, my heart skipped a beat. He was bigger than I expected. Thick, heavy, intimidating. For a moment, I froze. I had imagined this moment so many times in my fantasies, but now that it was real, I wondered if I could handle him. He saw the hesitation in my eyes and leaned down, kissing my neck. His voice low and reassuring, "I'll be gentle," he said, "but I want you to feel me." And I did. He moved between my legs, guiding himself with one hand while the other cupped my face. His eyes locked with mine as he pushed forward slowly. Carefully, I gasped. The stretch was intense, almost too much. My body tensed. "Relax, baby," he murmured, his thumb brushing over my lips. "Let me in." I tried. I closed my eyes, focusing on his voice, his touch. Inch by inch, he filled me deeper than anything I had ever felt. I moaned, a sound I couldn't control. The pain was there, but so was the pleasure, twisting together, sharp and sweet. When he was fully inside me, we both paused, breathing hard. "You feel incredible," he groaned. I clung to him, my nails digging into his back as he began to move. Slow, deep strokes. Every motion sent shockwaves through me. I felt full, stretched, stoned. It was wrong, every part of it was forbidden, but it felt so right. His lips found mine, hungry and desperate. His hands gripped my hips, pulling me closer with every thrust. The headboard hit the wall, a steady rhythm that made the room feel smaller, hotter. "Jake, I can't," I gasped. "I'm going to let go." He whispered, "I want to feel you come," and I did. My body tensed, then exploded with heat and pleasure that left me breathless. I cried out, holding onto him like I was falling. He followed seconds later, his grip tightening, his groan low and deep against my neck. When it was over, we collapsed into each other, our breathing ragged, our bodies tangled, our minds spinning. We didn't say anything for a long time because we both knew there was no going back. It started with my vibrator. Now I can't go a night without him. Jake, my stepdad. Even saying his name in my head sent shivers through me. Now what we did should have made me feel ashamed, but instead it made me hungry, addicted. Every time he walked by, every time I heard the sound of his deep voice in the next room, I craved him. I needed him like air. After that night, everything changed. Our touches were no longer accidental. Our stares lingered longer. We found ways to be alone, to sneak around my mom like two guilty lovers caught in a dangerous game. But it didn't feel like a game, it felt like survival. Jake started coming to my room late at night, quiet, careful. Sometimes he would just lie next to me, his big hand sliding up my thighs as I pretended to sleep, only to melt into his touch the moment his fingers found my sweet spot. Other nights, he would wake me up by whispering filth into my ear, his body already hard against me. He loved teasing me. "Tell me what you need, baby girl," he'd say, and I'd whimper, desperate for him. "Please, Jake, I need you every night." With him became another layer of obsession, another memory burned into my skin. He stretched me in ways no man ever had, filled me so deep I could still feel him the next morning. But it wasn't just sex. There were nights he'd run a hot bath for me, washing every inch of my body with his strong hands before taking me against the steamy bathroom mirror. Or mornings when we'd sneak into the garage, me sitting on top of the dryer as he lifted my dress and slid into me without warning. It was dirty, it was wrong, but it was so perfect. I stopped using my vibrator, not because I didn't want release, but because nothing felt as good as him. I was addicted to his size, his scent, his voice growling in my ear as he pinned me down and made me his. One afternoon, I came home early and found him in the living room, sweat glistening on his chest, fixing something with his shirt off. My eyes drank him in. He looked up and smirked, "Miss me already?" I walked over, dropping my purse, my heart racing. "You have no idea." He pulled me into his lap, his mouth crashing into mine. I could already feel him growing beneath me. I ground against him, needy and wet, and whispered, "Take me right here." That day, I rode him on the living room couch, moaning into his shoulder as he filled me again and again, his hands gripping my waist like I was the only woman he'd ever need. We didn't hear the garage door open. My heart nearly stopped. "My mom." Jake pulled me off him, tossing a blanket over us as I scrambled to fix my dress. We were breathless, flushed, seconds away from being caught. That was the day we realized how reckless we were becoming, but neither of us stopped. The danger just made it hotter. Even now, I don't know how long this can last, how long we can keep sneaking around, stealing moments between the lies. But I know one thing, I'm not addicted to my vibrator anymore. I'm addicted to Jake, his scent, his skin, his thick, hard length that ruins me every time. And deep down, I know he's just as addicted to me,